Despite what you may have heard about the Bermuda Triangle, about paranormal activity, aliens, theories about a scientific anomaly beneath the ocean like a massive deposit of iron, or methane gas bubbling up from the seafloor, all of these theories trying to explain the Bermuda Triangle as a thing are complete hogwash. If the Bermuda Triangle was so dangerous, then we should be hearing about massive numbers of cruise ships going missing. Companies like Disney, Carnival and Princess would never sail there. So why did this story begin if it's so demonstrably untrue? Mostly the reason for this is that people like stories, even if those stories are unfounded. It's easy to remember something if there's a neat tale behind it. The Bermuda Triangle is one of those stories. The mythology of the Bermuda Triangle is a work of pulp fiction which got out of hand. It's as credible as the story that ostriches put their heads in the sand, or that George Washington chopped down a cherry tree and then told the truth about it later, or that Columbus discovered America because the earth was flat, or that people only use 10% of their brain. The most reliable evidence that I found for where this malarkey began was in an article in the Miami Herald in 1950. It says modern man with his push-button miracles has no clue as to what happened to those people who have been swallowed without trace in the loss of ships and planes as indicated on this map. I don't know if the Miami Herald is a newspaper of record, but to put this in perspective, the black box flight recorder didn't start appearing in planes until a series of crashes involving the de Havilland Comet started to make airlines and legislators very worried about their investment. It was the Australian Defence Science and Technology Organisation that looked into flight recorders from about 1954 that started to make them commercially viable. It's also worth noting that the first man-made satellite, Sputnik 1, didn't go into space until 1957, and so our modern notion of tracking aircraft by satellite would have been impossible in 1950. This didn't stop the myth makers from going nuts. The Bermuda Triangle was the perfect sort of thing for magazines and novelists to write about, because it was impossible not to prove. Any ship that went missing was further proof that the Bermuda Triangle was a thing, and if no ships went missing, then there was nothing to report. It's the journalistic equivalent of confirmation bias, and it works even better if planes fall out of the sky, because suddenly you have something to sensationally write about. Maybe a mythology rose up around this, but it was a pulp magazine called the Argosy who finally coined the phrase in a February 1964 article called The Deadly Bermuda Triangle. Once you've given something a fancy name, and thrown in some half-baked science, and some marketing, you've got a legend. Really the only things that go missing in the Bermuda Triangle are people's sense of style when they start to think that Bermuda shorts are a good idea, and people's luggage when British Airways sends it to Frankfurt.